Getting into debt is like filling a dish with water from a tap. The water seems to be coming out slowly. You don't even notice how quickly the dish fills up. It's so effortless and quick. That slow trickle of water filling the dish is those small value purchases that you keep loading on your credit card, thinking, I'll pay this off at the end of the month. Now, imagine you then have to use a teaspoon to empty that dish of water. How long is that going to take? How slow and painful is it? And actually, now that you're having to use a teaspoon to empty it, it no longer feels like a dish of water. It feels more like an ocean. That's exactly what paying off debt feels like. And the bigger the vessel that you have filled with water, the more painful emptying it is. And that tiny teaspoon is your salary trying to keep up with paying off your purchases. Feel free to try that experiment at home anytime that you're tempted to make a purchase that you currently don't have the cash for. A lot of people believe that you need to start earning a lot more money before you're able to pay off debt quickly. While more money would definitely help, that's a myth. And in this video, I'm going to talk about proven steps and behavior changes that you can make to help you pay off your debt quickly and easily. Debt can be a useful thing when you're using it to acquire assets that will appreciate in value and earn you a greater return than the interest cost over time. For example, like if you take out a loan to start a business that's going to become successful. Debt is also sometimes necessary for things like a mortgage, because not many people are blessed enough to be able to afford to purchase a house outright in cash. However, carrying debt can also feel like you're lugging around a backpack full of rocks 24/7. It just weighs you down. At its worst, it can really have a negative impact on your mental health. We live in a fast-paced world where millennials in particular are increasingly much more financially strapped than older generations. Average credit card debt per household in the UK is at £2,452, and in the USA it's $5,733. So many people are secretly carrying around a lot of credit card debt and other debts, and they're too embarrassed to talk about it. Let's get into the video and talk about some practical steps that you can take and tips for how to pay off debt as quickly and easily as possible. Step 1 is to stop digging. If you're in a hole and you want to get out, the logical first step is to stop digging yourself any deeper. That means stop adding anything more to your debt and stop taking on more credit. A big part of being able to do this effectively is to do some real introspection and figure out the root cause of your debt. Being able to understand whatever part you played in you getting into debt will go a long way to breaking any bad habits that contributed to the debt. So if it's credit card debt, go through your credit cards and understand the type of transactions that led to you getting into debt. Was the debt caused by you trying to keep up with a certain standard of living that maybe your friends or your colleagues have that you can't afford yet? Or did you learn bad money management or none at all in your upbringing? It's probably a combination of factors, but identifying them is crucial to learning good money management. And learning the right mindset to have will really help you overturn some of those bad habits. Step 2 is to list all your debts. Write down a list of everything that you owe. The key words here are write down, because not having it in writing is a recipe for you losing track of everything. In your list include the balance outstanding, the interest balance or charge for the month, the due dates for payment, and what the minimum monthly payment for each debt is. You could do this in a spreadsheet or an app or a good old-fashioned notebook, whatever works best for you. Being able to list everything will help you start facing the reality of your situation in full, especially in a case where you may have started ignoring the piling stack of bills. It also helps to keep you more organized and to actually start taking control of the situation. Step 3 is to do a budget. I feel like I say this in almost every video, but that's because doing a budget is so foundational to good money management that of course it's totally relevant when you're trying to pay off debt. Doing a budget helps in 2 main ways. Firstly, you can insert the minimum payments that you identified in step 2 as expenses in your budget so that you make sure that you're at least meeting your minimum payments. Failing to do that can negatively affect your credit score or result in legal action or in repossession of some of your assets in some cases. Secondly, a budget will help you identify how much over and above your minimum payments you can put towards paying down your debt every month, because that's the key to paying down your debt quickly. If you're only paying the minimum payments, it will take you ages clear off a debt. So scan your budget for any wants or luxuries that you can entirely eliminate or drastically cut back on so that you can allocate more to overpaying your debt. Start by eliminating those things that got you into debt first wherever possible. A budget will also help you determine the realistic timeline over which you can pay off your debt. Check out my video on budgeting, which I'll link somewhere here, if you'd like a free guide and resource on how to do your budget every month. Step 4 is deciding how to tackle the debt. I'll discuss 2 different approaches that you could take to tackle it. There are many other approaches like debt consolidation, but I'll only focus on the 2 basic methods for this video. Each method I'm going to mention has its own merits, but the key thing is just for you to identify which one will be more effective for you. The first method is referred to as the avalanche method. With this method, you focus on overpaying or paying down the debt, which is charging you the most interest first. So let's assume that you have 2 credit cards. One has a balance of 10K and another one has a balance of 3K. Both charge the same interest percentage, so the 10K card is obviously charging you more interest and costing you more per month. Using the avalanche method, you'd focus on paying off the 10K card first so that your interest payments come down quickly and you can allocate more of that money that you're saving on interest now to paying off the smaller card when you're done. The major pro of this method is that it saves you more money because you reduce your highest cost debt first. Method 2 is called the snowball method. With this method, you focus on clearing all the debts with the lowest overall balances first. So using the 10K and 3K credit card examples, you'd actually focus on paying off the 3K balance first. This might seem counterintuitive because looking strictly at the numbers, it would make sense to pay off the card that's costing you more first. However, human beings are not perfectly mechanical or rational beings. A lot of our decisions and behavior are actually driven more by emotions than logic. So the argument for using this method is that the psychological impact of paying off one card completely gives you such a boost and helps keep you motivated to then tackle and pay off the bigger debts next. This actually makes a lot of sense because the journey of paying off debt is hard and requires you to constantly tap into discipline that you don't always naturally feel. Being able to log some motivating wins will really help keep you on track. It isn't the cheapest way to pay off your debt, but if you find that the momentum that this creates helps you better stick to your overall debt repayment plan, then this could be a better approach for you. Step 5 is all about execution. After doing all that planning, the only thing left is to follow through. The way I've done this previously is by prioritizing debt repayment by making my payments on payday. Because I'd have already done my budget before payday, I already know before I get paid how much I can afford to overpay on my cards. I wouldn't let that money linger in my bank account because otherwise I would start to feel richer than I really am. The execution part is the hardest part that requires discipline and being able to make peace with the sacrifice that's involved. But it's helped me in the past to keep at the forefront of my mind that the sacrifice is temporary. So my 2 top tips for this step that actually helped me to stay the course is firstly to have an accountability buddy. Just like having a gym buddy helps make you go to the gym when you would otherwise maybe have skipped that day, an accountability buddy can really help you keep focused on the goal of paying off debt. One of my close friends was my accountability buddy a few years ago when I was trying to pay off credit card debt. She was also trying to pay off some credit card debt, so having someone that was on the same journey as me and us being able to support and hype each other up to keep going really made a difference. It made it feel easier. It's great to be self-motivated, but having someone who can support and cheer you on when you're on your debt repayment journey could make all the difference to how successful you are. Some people have social media accounts where they chronicle their debt freedom journey and they celebrate major milestones. You could even do this anonymously if you don't want people to know that you're doing this. The second thing that I think helps you stay on the execution journey is learning to reward yourself. Besides getting a real adrenaline rush each month that I saw an interest payment going down, I found small ways to reward myself when I was sticking to the plan. Rewards don't even have to cost you anything at all. It could be going to watch a movie or enjoying a relaxing bubble bath after you've made your debt repayments. It doesn't matter what it is. Keep it simple and just enjoy rewarding yourself in a way that you enjoy for sticking to your plan. The freedom and joy of being debt-free and being able to focus fully on wealth building is a goal worth fighting to stick to. Thanks for watching.